hook there?
Where I would like to.
Okay, fire away.
Hello Ralph, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Vibhuti. How about you?
Very well. Had a
Good.
wonderful experience of 14 days of training under you.
It's actually been a great pleasure being your trainer and working with you.
Yeah, great. Listening to all the deep stories, the metaphors and the real life stories which you were sharing, I thought it would be a good idea to have a video, and people can know more about you, NLP, and also a storyteller, which I think you are. So tell us about your journey a little bit.
My journey. I guess I could summarise it by saying 66 years of life experience, 25 years corporate experience, and then over 20 years experience with NLP and coaching. And I came to the NLP completely by chance. I never set out to learn NLP. I touched around the edges of it with some sales training that I experienced, and I discovered its real power after having been very ill. It literally saved my life. Fell in love with it, and I've studied it and taught it now for 20 years. 20 years.
So Ralph, I get a lot of questions around this. That is NLP only for trainers or coaches, or is it for only corporates? Who does it belong to?
Okay, let's do the short answer. NLP is for anybody, because NLP is about understanding yourself and understanding other people. It's based on a process of studying people who perform excellently in all kinds of spheres. So it doesn't matter whether they are trainers, teachers, coaches, therapists, mums, dads, students, teachers, business people, sports people, drivers, cleaners, anybody really. And in 20 years I have literally worked with all of those. I've worked with people from 7 years of age to 90 years of age, everywhere between a child going to school to a great-grandparent who was just kind of curious. And that's what it's about. It's about understanding yourself, the way that we communicate with others, the way we communicate with ourselves. So it will work for anybody. Trainers can understand how to communicate, influence and motivate people and get their training across better. Teachers can understand how to connect with pupils better and how to engage their learning so they get better results. Business people can be more successful in running their business. Leaders can influence and motivate people better. Salespeople can watch their sales figures climb. I literally, when I first touched on NLP as part of a sales training, I introduced it into my company and our sales went up by something like 20%. Our profits went up by nearly 30% because they became better negotiators. Sports people, you look at top sports people, people like the golfer Tiger Woods, tennis star Andre Agassi, they utilise NLP as part of their focus. People like Barack Obama use a lot of NLP in his speeches to engage and motivate and enthuse people. So no, it's not only for trainers, it's for the universe.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I could teach everybody on the planet. Imagine 7 billion people using NLP. We could stop buying warships.
My next question would be, what's ahead in your journey?
For me,
Yeah.
more of the same, and enjoying life even more. I've reached that point in my life where I believe I have a good balance of work and life. More work here in India, more work in the Middle East. I'm spending most of June in Turkey, where I have a group coming for a retreat with me, and I'm also running an NLP practitioner, Master Practitioner program. In August, I will be doing some work with children in the UK. In September, I'm in Egypt, I believe. Oh, and somewhere in amongst that, I'm going to be in America. And then I will be back in India in October.
Yeah.
So more travel, more NLP, more delivering keynote talks for professional people and for groups, and more fun. I think that's what lies in the future, more fun, because it should be NLPF, Neuro-Linguistic Programming Fun.
And the last question, as this is not a very formal interview, casual with deeper communication, I would put it that way.
Okay.
For young trainers and speakers like me,
Yep.
what message or what recommendation you have to give?
In the frame of NLP?
In frame of...
Or in frame of anything? Okay, recommendations for young speakers, trainers, coaches. We live in a world that is increasingly selective. We live in a world that is increasingly tech savvy. So if I were to use 3 keywords for you, they would be differentiate, niche, and exposure. Differentiate, do not compete in the market, create your market. Be different. I always say to people, you're a coach, so what? You're a trainer, so what? What makes you different? So find your difference. Drill down into that difference and use that. The exposure really comes through using all of the tech and the technology that is at our hands. So differentiating, niching, so be very specialist about who you're going to choose. I always say if you want to be successful, learn to be choosy. Who is the right client for you? Who is the right customer for you? And be comfortable to say, no, I don't really work with those people. Or someone comes to you and says, can you do this? You say, that's not really my thing. Too many trainers will say, yeah, I'll do it. And I get messages from people saying, oh, I'm doing a training on such and such tomorrow. Do you have any materials? My response to that is, if you don't know that subject and you don't have those materials, you shouldn't be doing that training. So learn to be choosy, and the exposure comes through understanding all of your social media connections so that you are reaching that niche, and being different. So 3 words.
Nice. Thank you so much.
My great pleasure.
This is a video which will stay on all my platforms forever.
Oh, will I be famous or will I be infamous? That's the question.
We'll see that.
Okay.
Thank you, Ralph.
My great pleasure.